This is crazy, I'm on the right track, I'm finally found. You need some soul searching, the time is now. All I need is one mic.
I was done holding back on Satan. She was about to get the surprise of a lifetime, and I was going to confront her with everything that I had. So I write back to her at 3:48 p.m. that same day. I said, listen to your recordings and read your emails once again. You stated several times, you can do whatever you want with the stuff in the house, but of course, you're changing the rules and contradicting yourself. Haha. Thank you for helping me prepare my arguments, though. I appreciate it. No one is selling anything, but okay. That was another thing I just wanted to say. In that 2 or 3 weeks that it took me to clean the house out, I was literally like, I told you guys this is another thing, but I just want to reiterate. I would drop my son off at school. I would drive to my mom's house. I would pack things up the whole time I was there. Then I would go back to pick my son up. I would take my son back to my mom's house with me. Then my husband, if he wasn't home yet from work, he would come pick my son up from my mom's house. And then I would be there. There was some nights that I was there until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning packing things up. When the did I have time to sell things? Are you kidding me? Unbelievable that she even suggested that I was doing that. I had no time to even eat or wipe my ass in that time, but yeah, I had time to sit there on Craigslist and sell pool vacuums. So stupid. I said, thank you for helping me prepare my arguments, though. I appreciate it. No one is selling anything, but okay. I will be getting enough money when this is done. I don't need the extra money, and I don't even have time for that right now because I was too busy trying to get the house cleared out. Keep trying to make this nonsense fit your BS narrative. You were at the house several times as I was cleaning it out. I'm sure you saw all the boxes stacked in the living room and now in the garage and old office. As you probably saw when you were there last night, but you can pretend you didn't see it so it fits your crazy narrative. When they are picked up for donation, I will get the receipts. You took the stuff I left for you on the kitchen table, not once, but twice. You're welcome, by the way, for saving some of your childhood memories. Of course, I never got thanked for that. They would have been tossed in the garbage if it was up to you. You pulled up and saw all the garbage piled out on the curb the other night and were in the house several times since I started cleaning it 2 weeks ago. I have witnesses that also saw you were there. You also saw it during the day. You could have objected several times, but you didn't. Stop acting like you didn't know what was going on. We could go back and forth all day, but it's a waste of time. Once again, all you are doing is wasting time and proving to everyone that you enjoy arguing with other people. For someone with such a demanding job,
Unfortunately, I have a demanding job right now.
okay. You certainly have lots of time to write emails. I also have pictures of your wife talking to the 2 people from the estate company and photos of her carrying stuff out of the house, which she shouldn't be doing. I'll be sure to bring those to court as well. I have evidence to disprove everything you are saying. Keep putting it all in writing. I'm extremely sad that things had to get to this point, but I'm not surprised. I can only imagine what our mother and father would be thinking. Again, I asked why you signed papers. FYI, they were signed in April, not January. Get your facts straight. I misread what she wrote, so just ignore that. Again, I asked why you'd sign papers with someone that you are not allowed to meet up with or talk to. What is it that you fear? I don't know what you're hiding from. Maybe the truth? Reality? You've been lying since day one when you were pretending there was no will, and we have proof of that. You let the car get repossessed and lost estate money because you illegally changed the address when you weren't an executor, and we have proof of that. You worried about Bed Bath & Beyond coupons and junk mail? Is this serious right now? I'm allowed to get the mail. Sorry you can't make it to the P.O. box and cannot communicate like a normal person. Not my problem. Again, I have in writing that you said the mail was being sent to your house, and we have proof of that. But hey, let's twist things to fit your narrative. How do you know how much the water bill was and how much you owed to Liberty Mutual if you haven't received any mail? Yeah, but you're not getting mail. We could have sold the car for well over $15,000, but you thought it was more important to change addresses and hide mail, so now we were screwed out of that money. You did a lot of things to that nature, like allowing your wife to make an appointment for our aunts to open up an estate account at the Chase Bank in West Babylon after my objection was filed. And this is the truth. This bitch called up and was trying to collect my mom's money after I had objected to my aunts being the executors. And I have proof. They absolutely should not have been doing this at this point in time. My aunts were not the executors. They were not appointed by the courts, and nobody should have been making appointments to open up estate accounts or collect any of my mom's money, which you guys will see they were trying to do. I'm glad you trust those two with your secrets. I'm sure we can address those things in court, as well as the fact that you stole painkillers and left the empty bottles as evidence with your fingerprints all over them. But I bet you'll pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about. You are not scaring me. Let's get that straight. The most important thing to me was to be able to go through my mother's house, and I got to do that. I will still get my inheritance. You can't take that away, and so all you're doing is trying to stick it to me, and it's blatantly clear to anyone who could read. You are wasting my time, our attorney's time, and your own time with this nonsense. You're so sentimental about Dad's heart-shaped ring, yet you left a plethora of photos and other sentimental items at the house and were ready to pay someone to throw them away, but now you want to attach a value to them. Give me a break. You embarrassed your attorney enough by lying to him and perjuring yourself back in December of last year. Keep trying to get at me. You aren't going to break me. I will put Superman's strength to shame. That's right, bitch. I will put Superman's strength to shame. My memory is impeccable as well. Give it up, bitch. Thank you for admitting that your wife is reading the emails, which also shouldn't be happening because sensitive and personal information is being shared in them. I'm sure if we need be, we can subpoena your work hours and prove that you weren't at Liberty Mutual on their network on a variety of different dates. I'm done with this crazy nonsense. I am sincerely worried about you. By the way, nothing belongs to the estate. It belongs to me and you, Stephen, because we are the heirs to the estate. Please stop underestimating my intelligence. Again, you signed a legal document to be a co-executor, and you insisted on putting everything in writing. That is your fault, not mine. Aside from the proof I have, there's enough evidence to suggest that you are not handling the estate yourself. I mean, who signs power of attorney over to their wife the same day they find out their mother is dying and has it notarized in the hospital that very same day? That's why we added that stipulation to the agreement we made. You clearly cannot handle this yourself. Saying you are doing it doesn't prove a thing. Writing checks doesn't prove a thing either. I could say I'm a multimillionaire. It doesn't make it true. Just stop already. Once again, I'm done with this back and forth nonsense. I'm meeting with the real estate agent tomorrow. You can keep wasting your time. I will continue doing what needs to be done to get this over with. They didn't know I knew all this shit. So, along with this email, I sent Satan the photos, right? And I'll show you guys which ones I sent her. So we got the picture of my brother and Satan in the garage looking around. I guess they're kind of looking for things to take. My brother's got his passenger door open. Then we got them carrying this bin together that was like obviously so heavy they needed both of them to carry. And I believe those are my mom's Halloween decorations. And then we could see that they took 2 ladders. And I don't know what the hell is in Satan's hand, some type of pole. She should shove it up her ass. And then we got a picture of Satan with her little T-Rex alligator arms. You know, she's pointing at something like, ooh, you should take that, Stephen. I think that's a good thing. And then, last but not least, the picture of Satan standing on my mom's front porch in her muumuu talking to the women from the estate sale company. Because I'm like, dude, you guys think I'm a fucking idiot, and I'm gonna show you guys now how not stupid I actually am. Make you guys look like the fucking idiots, because you are the fucking idiots. Satan writes back to me 10 minutes later, okay? That whole big long email where I confront every single thing that this bitch has done, this is what she writes back to me. Thank you for meeting with the agent. I will see you at the conference. There was no conference. There was never a conference. This bitch is crazy. The more this went on and the worse things got, the more concerned and worried I got for my brother. This guy has a very serious case of Stockholm Syndrome, which is called trauma bonding. If you guys aren't familiar with what Stockholm Syndrome is, I'll give you guys a little definition. Stockholm Syndrome is a condition which causes hostages to develop a psychological alliance with their captors during captivity. There was a bank robbery in Sweden. It says this term was first used by the media in 1973 when 4 hostages were taken during a bank robbery in Stockholm, Sweden. The hostages defended their captors after being released and would not agree to testify in court against them. Stockholm Syndrome is paradoxical because the sympathetic sentiments that captives feel towards their captors are the opposite of the fear and disdain which an onlooker might feel towards the captors. Now, I learned this from actually somebody on YouTube that my brother is trauma bonded, and trauma bonding is very much the same as Stockholm syndrome. It has been found that 4 situations or conditions are present that serve as a foundation for the development of Stockholm syndrome. These 4 situations can be found in hostage situations, severe abuse, and abusive relationships. And then it says, number 1, the presence of a perceived threat to one's physical or psychological survival and the belief that the abuser will carry out the threat. Number 2, the presence of a perceived small kindness from the abuser to the victim. Number 3, isolation from perspectives other than those of the abuser. And that is probably the most important one in this situation. My brother has been completely isolated from me, my mom, my husband, my son for years now, okay? Number 4, the perceived inability to escape the situation. Satan took over my brother's whole entire life. I mean, when they first met and moved in with each other, it would be very hard for him to leave her at this point in time. This traumatic bonding, also called Stockholm syndrome, occurs in abusive relationships which are characterized by an imbalance of power, high intensity, and an unpredictable atmosphere, rapidly shifting between periods of cruelty and tenderness. Traumatic bonds can form very quickly and last long after the relationship is severed, which is really scary and really sick. I had long wondered why it was that my brother could not go against Satan. This is why. I remember I asked a question on the channel. It's called Inner Integration. It's a really good channel. And I asked her some type of question about my brother. And she's the one who pointed me in this direction and introduced me to trauma bonding, aka Stockholm syndrome. My brother probably thinks there's no way out. He's married, he has a kid with her. Where's he going? My mom now passed away. Up until this point in time, my brother didn't have any money behind him, and Satan, rules everything. He's trauma bonded. And the really sad part is that my brother thinks he's in love. But he's not in love. He's in fear. He's afraid of what will happen to him if he decides to leave this woman. Do I believe that their relationship is perfect and everything that they portray it to be? No. I think that it's completely, unbelievably, emotionally unhealthy and probably more like torture than it is a marriage. I know exactly what this trauma bonding feels like because I was trauma bonded to somebody years ago, and I used to make excuses even in my own head for this person. Like, I used to think to myself, oh, he's had a hard life, his dad wasn't in his life. Whatever the case was, I always made excuses for this person. The first couple of weeks or months or whatever during our relationship were just so great that I lived in this constant state of like, I know he's a good person. I know it's somewhere inside of there. He's just going through something right now. He's upset about something. And, I blamed myself too. It's my fault. I do this or I do that. And, in reality, when I look back at that situation, once I got out of it and met somebody who treated me like a real human being, I realized that none of that shit was ever my fault. But that was all about him, and he was an abuser, point blank. My brother did this for Satan all the time. He always made excuses for her behavior. There's no excuse for any of this shit. You're most certainly trauma bonded, but that's not my problem. So to make matters worse, Satan sends that last email to me, and she basically completely just glazes past everything that I said to her and tells me she'll see me in court. In the meantime, I get a text from my friend Kara. I guess this is from your brother, ... She forwarded me a text and it says, her texts always come out of order for some reason, but it says, taking pictures isn't very nice, Kara. I would think twice next time. And I'm like, what? So I write, stop. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed. Are fucking threatening. I couldn't even write. Oh my God, how the hell did they get your fucking phone number? She's threatening you? I can't. Planting cameras in people's houses isn't very nice either. Wow. I'm going to tell her that I took the pictures from your house. What number did that come from? So she sends me this number and she writes, is that her? Because I have another cell number for him. And I look at this number and I'm like, no, this is not her. So Kara didn't know how to take screenshots at that point in time. She has an Android. So I look it up and I tell her, could you please send me a picture of this? I'm bringing this to my attorney. This is fucking insane right now. You are now threatening the fucking neighbors. So this crazy, psychotic, sociopath bitch went and like downloaded some type of app that allows you to text people from a fake phone number. Clearly, it's from her. Clearly, that threat is from Satan and my brother. Who the fuck else would send that? Kara didn't send pictures to anybody else. I just sent them the pictures, okay? And the next day, Kara gets this text message. Like, holy shit, bro. This girl was so salty that we had now actual evidence that she was in my mom's house talking to the estate company, helping my brother remove items from the house, that she went and downloaded some type of app to like spoof her number and sent Kara this threatening text message. And what's even more sick about this is that my brother, he's insisting that it's him. You guys heard the voicemail. It's him. So you're threatening a woman now? You're gonna take responsibility for this, Steven. You're sending a veiled threat to a woman. You're a piece of shit. I don't even think I could tell you guys how out of my mind crazy I was over this. Let me just tell you guys something. Kara's been like a guardian angel sent down from heaven for me. Not just me, my mom too. This woman did so much to help me in so many ways and help my mom in so many ways. When my mom was alive and she was home, you know, and she was sick, Kara would go over there and take her garbage pails in for her and get her mail for her. And if it snowed, Kara would help shovel her driveway. And every time my mom was in the hospital, Kara took my mom's dogs and took care of them. Not even just took care of them, she always went above and beyond. She would give them baths and she would clip their nails and things that she didn't need to do. She would do them. When my mom passed away, Kara helped clean the house up for us so that we could have people over for the wake. Ironed a tablecloth for me. You know, she didn't have to do that. She came over that day. She helped me set up for the, you know, for everybody to come over and eat at my mom's house.
And after the wake, she also helped me clean up all the food and get rid of everything and take all the garbage out. I mean, she helped out way more than my brother did.
And then she helped me clean out the house. She would just come over and hang out with me and help me wrap things up and put them in boxes. The biggest way that she helped us was by taking my mom's dogs in. I mean, she took these 2 older dogs in who had medical problems and she has to bring them to the vet all the time and take care of them. And it's just like, instead of thanking her for all the shit she's done, you send her a threat, a veiled threat from a fake text number because you're such a pussy, you don't even have the balls to send it from your real phone number. Wow. And it goes to show the depravity of Satan and how calculated she is. This was well thought out. She didn't just do this on a whim. It's not like she's just like, oh, I'm pissed off and it was impulsive. No, this was a well thought out thing that she actually had to go and get a program so she could block her fucking phone number just to send this threat. Just to stick it to Kara, just to try to scare her, and just to get her under her control too. This woman is fucking sick. She is a full-fledged psychopath, a clinical, diagnosable, certified psychopath, period. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck? So naturally, we told Jeannie, and Jeannie went to work the next day and told my attorney. And my attorney called me up and he's like, get down here right now and bring Kara with you. Time to start making moves. Go down to my attorney's office the next day. We get down to his office the next day. Me and Kara are sitting there. Kara has her phone, shows him the evidence. And, you know, obviously, you know, Satan's very smart. She knows how to break the law and she knows how to cover her tracks, which again shows how calculating she is. You know, so Satan, of course, blocks her phone number and we can't prove that it's her. While we're sitting there, my attorney called somebody. I don't know. He called another attorney for advice or something. And basically the other attorney was like, you know, it's not a direct threat. So if my brother would have said something to the effect like, if you send pictures again, I'll kill you, that's a threat. But the way Satan worded it, she made sure that it was more of like a veiled threat. It wasn't a direct threat that, you know, I'm gonna hurt you if or whatever. There was basically nothing we could do about it, which is sick.
And I just want to point out here again, I mean, it really just goes to show how sick and calculating she is, because normal people don't do this kind of shit, okay, to get their way. This isn't how normal people go through life and operate through life. This is how Satan controls people. You know, she uses threats and intimidation and she tries to, you know, scare you into submission. And it's just really sick. And I could only imagine what she put my brother through and what she did to him to gain such a powerful hold and powerful control over him. I mean, this person is sick, and she is, again, so textbook narcissist psychopath. It's not even funny. And I also have to add that I was extremely just mortified. I mean, I was embarrassed for my brother. I was embarrassed for my family, for my mom. I mean, my mom didn't raise us like this. My parents did not raise us to do shit like this. And I know Kara knows that it's not me. And, you know, she's been on this whole journey with me from the jump. I mean, she went through everything in the hospital and the whole thing. And she helped me so much. And it's embarrassing. My brother's behavior was so embarrassing just all around. And I mean, I don't know how he's not ashamed of himself for allowing this shit to go on. It's disgusting. Oh my God, dude. I couldn't believe how many fucking boundaries and lines my brother allowed this asshole to cross. I mean, that to me is just so extreme. I can't even wrap my head around it. And you're the one, you know, taking responsibility for all this shit that Satan's doing. You're gonna take responsibility for threatening a woman, you sick fuck? You should be ashamed of yourself. You are disgusting. You are the biggest piece of shit on the planet. You really are. Asshole. At this point now, I'm just like, I am so ashamed of my brother, and I'm so shocked. I'm shocked that he even allowed this. I'm shocked that he went along with this. I mean, I go back all the time because I see people writing this in the comments, and I've even thought of myself that I'm like, oh my God, you know, my brother's a victim too, and he's scared, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, dude, no. You had a choice every step of the way during this whole entire process. You had a choice from the day you texted me about my goddamn dress that I was wearing for your wedding. You had a choice every step of the way, and you continued to allow this to happen. You're not a victim, you're an accomplice at this point. And you're just as guilty as Satan is, because you kept allowing it. You allowed her to assume your identity. You allowed her to threaten me. You allowed her to threaten my mom. Remember this lovely picture that she posted of herself on Facebook holding a gun and used it as a veiled threat against my mother and even made an excuse for it? I mean, my mom confronted her and wrote, well, I'm glad that you and Steven are getting a big kick out of your veiled threat with your guns. And she writes back to my mom, and you call yourself a conservative? Do I not have the right to bear arms? Did the Constitution change? And by the way, I have all my gun licenses. And my mom wrote back to her, you certainly do have the right, but you're a fool to use it as a threat to anyone, even in a joking manner. And this goddamn bitch went on to still make an excuse. I never use it as a threat since none of you are my Facebook friends. She goes on to say, and that pic is years old, just for your information. I mean, who threatens their future mother-in-law? This was before they were even married, and she had only met my mom a handful of times. This girl lives on threats. You allowed her to threaten the neighbors, my husband. You're sick. My brother never acted like this before. He never did shit like this before. Even going back and looking at this now, I still can't believe that this happened. I was just in shock. I really was. If you guys could even imagine, my stress level at this point in time was just beyond. That I couldn't sleep. I mean, this was like consuming me. And this girl was intent on driving me crazy. This was all she wanted. And even my attorney said it. He's like, this isn't about money anymore. This is about control. In the meantime, the last email that I had sent with all those pictures and everything, I get a report back on October 11th. And I see that my emails are being opened up in West Babylon, which is where my aunts live. And I see that they were opened up on an iPad, which I know Aunt Debbie is the one who always uses her iPad, okay? And she has Verizon. It says right there, doing business as Verizon, okay? So I'm like, wow. And I could see that the email says forwarded. And I'm like, holy shit. Why are you sending that email to my Aunt Debbie? I thought like once they signed their paperwork, they were done. They were out. I'm like, they were still involved in this shit. Why was Satan sending my aunts
that email. And then I realized it. I'm like, oh, it's because I said something about her making the big appointment for my aunts. Now, this wasn't the only thing that Satan did. After I filed my objection back in April, Satan also tried to collect money out of one of my mom's mutual funds. And the way I figured this out was completely by mistake. My attorney and I were going to fill out the paperwork, and when I sent it in, I put the EIN number that Satan had given to me in the very beginning. Then, when the lady called me back, she's like, wait a second, I have a different EIN number. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And she reads back the number to me, and I realized that this is a number that my aunt had filed for back in April after I had made my objection, which, again, she shouldn't have been doing. So then the lady told me that my brother's wife was the one who gave her this number. And I'm like, holy shit, they were trying to collect my mom's money. It's unbelievable. So I knew that she was trying to collect the funds and open up an estate account after I put my objection in, which she shouldn't have been doing. And my aunts clearly knew about it. Why would she be sending them this email? So anyway, I could see that my aunt is now opening up my emails and reading them. My aunts are that cool with Satan, right? That's pretty interesting because I don't think my mom would be too happy about that, and especially at this point in time. And shame on you guys, you pieces of shit.